All right, so I'm going to split this even further. We're going to do an episode on decon wash, and then we're going to do an episode on the actual decontamination process, which means we're going to hit it with a tar, we're going to hit it with an iron. Obviously, the 2-in-1 wheel cleaner will add the extra degreases in anyway to kind of remove any existing protection, and then we're going to move that inside for the actual the manual or the mechanical decontamination process. So the decon wash, my plan is, again, I was toying around with this idea, is do I go on dry, do I go on wet? So I'm still going to pre-rinse. That's going to be like kind of the normal step. I've got a 1-to-1 mix of citrus, and then I've got 250 ml mix of Yum foam within the PF22. So we're going to obviously let that sit, and we're going to just go directly into the wash stage. So the stronger dilution of citrus and the foam will really start to etch into the kind of the protective properties. Hopefully the sun does not peek out, so it can sit for as long as possible, and then you should see a huge kind of change in the water characteristics on the paintwork itself. So yeah, pre-rinse, again, try and get as much of the loose kind of contaminants as possible off, and then we'll crack on with the chemicals. So, like I said, and if you watch me enough, you'll probably hear me repeat myself here. Everything, especially when you come into paint corrections, but just maintenance in general. So imagine it's just a maintenance wash. Your whole goal, your ideal picture is 100%, so 100 points. Now, you can't just walk in right now, imagine at the very first episode, can't come in and say, I'm going to wax my car dirty, right? Because you're going to cause a whole lot of damage. So your goal is to get as close to 100% as you can. Now, everything you do, depending on what it is like 1 point, 5 points, 10 points. But let's call it in tens, so you've got 10 steps to get to 100%. This is just another step. So in this case, we're going to do a decon wash, and this is just another thing that will aid in the reduction of protective properties, removing obviously dirt, grime, and also getting you one step closer to get you to the contact wash. And then at the end of it, when we dry, you want to see as few beads as possible. Again, but then the goal is not to go and get caustic TFR that will melt your face off and go, oh, I've hit this, melted everything, I don't need to do 10 steps, I can do 1 step. But then you've just damaged all the rubber seals, you've stained, obviously this car doesn't have it, but if you had, like on the Mercedes, you've got either the aluminium or the gloss black trim. You've seen, obviously, when you go to these hand car washes, that all of these are stained, they're disgusting. Again, so don't take it to the other extreme and do it all in 1 step and completely ruin your car. So citrus 1-to-1, like I've already mentioned, in one of our Prezol households with this beautiful labeling solution. So yeah, I'm going to kind of run the bottle dry, as they say, but I'm going to focus primarily on the bottom halves, but I'm still going to lightly mist kind of the upper areas, and I'm hitting it in everything. I mean, the Glass Plus on this is indestructible, so the glass will still continue to bead fairly well, even at the end of the decon wash, because it's got about 47 coats of it on. For good reason, of course. I like having protected glass. A lot of people don't have protected glass, but I like it. So this is just another aid in the process of, obviously we're going to get our foam is pH balanced, not pH neutral. There is a reason for that. So if you mix the foam wrong, in this case I'm choosing to on purpose mix it wrong. That ever makes sense to people? But yeah, if you make it too strong, it has got the capability of beginning to remove your protective properties. Of course, if you've got ridiculous like resin-based sealants and resin-delivered coatings, it's nothing really is strong enough. It has to be kind of abrasion, but still, it will start to sit, and it will kind of start to obviously diminish the hydrophobics, which then aids in your clay steps, because your paint's not as slick. It's not jumping over or hopping over the contaminants as much as it should be. In this case, it's good because you want as much grip. It's a fine line, because you don't want it to drag, but you don't want it to be so slick that it's actually not picking anything up. So it's hard to explain really what's kind of rolling inside my head, but you get the point I'm trying to make. So yeah, the foam is going to be a cool little overmix, accidentally on purpose type of thing. I'm going to hit the jams as well, depending if it's on camera, off camera. You're going to get where all the foam kind of sit. I'm going to get the wheel brush, which so the wheel detail factory, because it's designed for the worst areas. Try and hit the glass as much as I can anyway, because I know, this glass is going to get polished. So this glass needs to be polished. I posted a video of this in January. For the people that keep a close eye, you'll remember that post. I've got a little square here like this, right? It's the size of like a MacBook Pro, whatever. So I did a test spot on the glass in my personal time in preparation for this kind of paint correction series, just to make sure everything was kind of in good order and the glass was kind of receiving the treatment well, which it did. I've got a dedicated kind of glass polish. I've got a dedicated glass pad as well, which believe it or not, I'm not going to use it, because I'm not trying to remove scratches. I'm trying to remove water spotting. So we've been developing a water spot remover. It's like a slow time project, because there are some very, very nice alternatives already out. So if we're going to make it different, as we always do. So I tried that. It didn't touch. It was very aggressive, and it's still like the water spots are literally embedded. So I tried a microfiber pad with one of our versions of heavy cut vinyl refine and polish, and it did well on both areas. So I can't wait to kind of share that one with you in the later stages of the series. So that's how a litre of 1:1 citrus looks like, and I still, well, it's not even a litre, it's 750 ml. I still haven't used it all, and I've literally covered every part of the car. And that's it. We're going to move on to the foam cannon stage, and we will see how much protection we can knock off here. Right, so always make sure to give the reservoir a good mix. As I said, strong dilution ratio. Let's crack on. Oh wow, this it's just, if you could see where the drips are, it's just brown, especially here. Wow, nice. So that's obviously the citrus work in tandem, or in tandem with the foam, all yellow in here, which is nice. So it's, as you can see, it's quite thick, which is, but it's not thick enough to where, obviously you see these foams that come out that are just shaven cream thick, and they just start to clump up and like run away. Whereas this, you could see, just very slowly, it's holding and it's going down. But as I said, you know, 250 mil is quite a lot, which is nowhere near, it's like 2.5 times the recommended amount. But I'm doing this for a certain purpose. So we're going to let this dwell, and then we're going to rinse it off. And then let's assess the water behavior then, and we'll crack on into the Decon wash itself. All right, so it's knocked off 15-20%. Of course, still beaten. We're going to do a contact wash with, again, a little bit more shampoo than is advised on a maintenance wash. That will make another 5-10%, and then obviously we're going to go into the chemical decons where it'll really kind of start to take impact and stuff. So with all the solvents that we're going to hit the car with, the glue removers, tar removers, iron removers, and then hopefully at that point the car will almost be a canvas ready for polishing. Always look after your tools. So, contact wash time, 2 bucket methods, nothing changes. I've got the development wash pad that is in there. This is now going on to what, month 5, 6 of this. We've got something else obviously in the same line of this, arriving soon for testing, kind of same blend. We're just trying out thicknesses and sizes, but I wanted to talk about, again, this is more of a counsellor meeting more than a car wash video, but I'm sure people will want to probably hear this one, but it's kind of expectations of what do I expect from this kind of paint correction series. Like, where do I want it to go? What do I want to achieve? Because that's what I always ask people, like, what do you want to achieve with this stuff? So because, again, this car is original paint, I want to keep it original, paint-wise anyway. So I yet do not know, and I haven't done this on purpose. I do not know the paint thickness of this car. I don't know if it's been polished before. So the reason I did this is on purpose. I want to kind of take this journey with you guys, make sure it's not, as obviously you've seen YouTube, everything's pre-planned, everything is like clickbaity. So with me, I want to kind of almost kind of shock myself. Obviously I've seen the defects, I haven't inspected them closely. So the whole goal was to measure the paint with you, assess the paint with you, do the test spot with you, because I don't know what this car is looking like under my extremely sharp lights inside. Again, more than likely, like with anything in life, this car will require a certain process that has been done before. I'm not going to do anything new. maybe a few tweaks are required, but still it'll be something that people are expecting, if you know what I mean. So because this is an original painted car, this is a JDM import. Now again, this is not, to me anyway, this is not a collectible. A lot of people love this car. It's quite rare in the UK, especially for the mileage and the spec of this car. So to some people, they will probably see it as a kind of a collectible. I don't, you know, I do everything in a relative manner. This car is relative. It's cool to drive. It's cool to be in, even though it's got zero tech. But the fact that because it has zero tech, it has this air of coolness about it. So I'm going to try and paint correct this to the very best. Again, I'm very knowledgeable. That I can say. Very knowledgeable. I've got a lot of skill and experience behind me. But then again, if there is, I'm being hypothetical here, if there is low paint readings here, for example, on the roof, and that roof reading is reading 70 microns, I'm not chasing it. I won't be chasing it. I will work around it. I'm talking like a big serious gouge, you know, a serious scratch. I'll work around it. I will polish it best I can. Well, I'll compound it and polish it best I can. I will minimize it. But then at the end of all of this journey, this car will still come out looking better than any other Lupo GTI in the country. I can guarantee you that much, paint-wise. And there might be one scratch, two scratches, no scratches. I don't even know yet. But it will be nice. It will be hyper protected. And I'm going to drive this car to its absolute limit. You know, I actually quite enjoy driving this car. It's quite cool. It's tiny. For the type of car that it is, it does drink quite a lot of petrol, which I don't really care. It cost me £50 to fill nowadays with the increased fuel prices, but it's fun. I'll continue driving it until I get bored, and then I'll sell it. And we'll continue this journey together. Obviously, people think that there is a magic pill, microfiber compound, microfiber pad, for example, and a aggressive compound, and anything can be fixed, which is almost a yes. But I look at it like a doctor's point of view. To chop somebody's leg off and permanently damage them. I've just felt something here. See, it hasn't got that much contaminants, but yeah, to chop somebody's leg off and permanently ruin their ability to walk, obviously it may fix the kind of the infection, for example, but it's not always the best way. So what I'm trying to make as an analogy is you can completely hammer this car and give it the worst chemical bath, and you know, one chemical does all. Go on, my son. So like a one chemical does all job, but and then hit it with the same microfiber, you know, super aggressive rotary and wool and all these type of things. But I want to potentially polish this car next summer and give it that little bit of a boost and gloss. Beefy, yeah, and I potentially want to repolish it, or I want to polish this wing and add something new in development, kind of like a product, and see how it's testing and all that type of stuff. Now, if you go in with the most aggressive combination that you have, you may not get that opportunity. So this is me just trying to shift the way of thinking that this is my personal car. I'm trying to reach out to a certain level of person in the UK and around the world that, you know, wants to take the time and enjoy kind of washing their cars and tinkering with it, which is what I like to do. This is where my main passion lies. And yeah, kind of play around with different products. Obviously, I've got a requirement to do so, and that requirement is not forced. Like, I actually want to attempt, everything's always an attempt, but I want to attempt to make the best car shampoo and the best wheel cleaner and all that type of stuff. I get called in it every single day of my life, and people, you know, obviously not happy with my worldly views, but hopefully, you know, I've got a little bit of oomph behind us now to kind of show the progress that we've made. But in terms of this car, you've got to always think, what is the least aggressive, most aggressive method you can use? And this is why you're going to hear me talk about this in the test spot stages of the series. That's why you're test spotting it, because who knows, you may be lucky and get away with a one-step polish and you're done. Or you could have to do a 14-step paint correction. But before you do that test spot, you don't know, so you can't stereotype like a one method rules all kind of type of thing. And the thing is, I'm always right, because I can obviously back it up by facts and just years of practice and obviously case studies against all the cars that I've had the pleasure of doing. But a lot of people obviously try and cut corners. That's the way of the world nowadays, to try and trying to cut corners to try and get to the best end result as quickly and as cheaply as possible. And when I mean cheaply, it could mean product cheapness or time cheapness. In this case, I'm referring to time cheapness. I don't want to spend 6 days on this car, I want to spend 1 day on the car. So how do I make it look like it should look, but without doing the work? So yeah, I'm going to, if the car needs compounding and it's got the clear coat to handle it, it's going to get compounded. I'm just kind of giving you a preview to my way of thinking, because sometimes on YouTube it's easy, like if you're on the other end of the screen, is to look at me doing this process and think, well, you should have done it this way, you should have done it that way. Everyone's got an opinion. But obviously I'm going to look at the live feed of what the paint readers are telling me and how the paint's reacted. I mean, this paint, for all I know, because it's a Japanese car, it could have Japanese style clear coat, which is extremely soft. I mean, butter soft, which means I may be lucky and get away with it, you know. If not, I could kind of compound it so hard that I remove more clear that I'm comfortable with, and the car is technically a one polish only car, which is not what you want, because whether this car stays with us forever or this car may be lucky enough to have another owner after us, you want to give that potential other owner the chance to do his bit on it. So yeah, I'm talking like it's an archaeological find. It's a car, a GTI car that, you know, but still, I speak sense sometimes. Right, contact wash complete, safe, lubricated. I'm now going to obviously move on to the rinse step, and then we'll go into the chemical decon. Now we're starting to see some flatness. Here we go. As I said, the Glass Plus, like literally to get Glass Plus off, you need abrasion or time, both of which this hasn't had yet. So as you can see, the water behavior still, after all of that, whew, lovely. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Now it's sheeting very, very slowly. It's not that aggressive pinging that we had. So, you know, again, 10%, 10%. We'll get there eventually. So, the good thing is, if you hear, the wind has really dropped down. So I may just do the decon outside. As I say that, the trees start moving, but on a serious note, like the wind has really died down. So rather than having to dry the car off and then take it inside, I may do all the wet work out here, which is my preferred method. And then, yeah, I can kind of let the car gas off properly inside when I've done all the heavy chemical stuff. But yeah, that's the contact wash. There is still a little bit of beading. This side's beading more than that side. The roof's pretty much completely dead. Yeah, it's pooling and it's, you know, beading a little bit, sheeting a little bit. Obviously the glass is still rock solid because it's got, as I said, about 47 coats of Glass Plus. I'm running a test. So yes, we're going to now finish this episode. Thank you for watching. You've seen obviously a decon wash. You could of course probably notch this level up maybe 1 or 2 times more if you really want to give it a real kind of strong, super aggressive decon wash. I do not want to do that. All the components on this car, again, like the rubber seals and stuff, I don't want to kind of compromise them long term. So on the next episode, we're going to be doing tar removal, iron removal, seeing how much we can pick up. I felt the rear, as you saw, right next to the exhaust, probably one of the worst areas to pick up contaminants. Don't feel too bad, touch wood. If it is, of course, it's getting clay blocked anyway, so it's not really a concern. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening to another episode of Dr. Phil and Jeremy Kyle Show, all in one piece. I hope you've gained some knowledge and some value from it, and I will catch you on the next one.